Hello, everybody. I'm sure most of you are expecting another poem, but not with this video. I am doing this video because I wanted to talk about me and my writings. I've told y'all a little bit about me, but not a whole lot. And so I decided to kind of talk a little more because there's something that I want to address. And I don't do a lot of videos that aren't poems, but occasionally I will. And so I'm hoping if you watch this and truly listen to it that you'll understand. I kind of want to talk about mental health. And I'll explain in a second how that ties into my writings. I unfortunately have battled bipolar and depression for most of my life. It's not something that's easy. It's not something that's easy to deal with. It's not always easy to talk about. You try to talk about it and people judge you, or they put you down, or they think you're crazy or whatever, when that's not the case at all. A lot of times bipolar and depression is caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain. Sometimes you battle bipolar or depression due to situational things. Like if you're living in a bad environment or an unhealthy environment or whatever, it can cause it. If you're around toxic people, it can cause it. There are a multitude of things, that can cause it as a situational thing. Some people, on the other hand, though, unfortunately, it's just kind of a hand they were dealt, and there's nothing they can do about it besides, take meds to try to control it, learn coping techniques and stuff, but not all of that always helps. And for some of it, there's no guarantee that it's going to help. And it also doesn't cure the problem. It's kind of like something that masks the problem. It makes the symptoms kind of seem like they're not there or die down or whatever, but it doesn't get rid of it. The issue and stuff is still there. You still have the problem. You just don't really know that you do, or you're not fully aware of it because the medicines, again, mask all of that. The thing is, though, is that because it's such a hard thing to deal with, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with these things, mental health problems. A lot of people don't know how to cope with them. One of the things that kind of helps me cope with some of it, it's not a cure-all, but it does help quite a bit, is my writing. So that's where a lot of my poems come from. Some of it is my passion because I do love writing. It's always been a passion of mine for many years. But then there's also the ones where you'll notice I write poems that are very deep and dark, and they're from my depressive states or from my states where I'm dealing with bipolar and I'm having anger rages and stuff like that, and I have to be able to handle that stuff in a positive way. And writing is a positive way of handling it. But that's where you'll notice a lot of mine come from. The other ones come from the fact that, again, it's still healing to be able to get your feelings out. And again, it's a passion of mine, so it's something that makes me happy. It brings me joy, even more so when I can share it with people and I can get people's feedback, and I know people are listening to my words, or I know that somebody is listening and they can relate to what I'm saying. I get so much enjoyment out of that. I know, maybe selfish, but it's how I feel. But as far as the mental health thing, I kind of want to go into that for a few minutes. So please just bear with me. I did that poem Blind about people not really taking the time to listen to other people and not really taking the time to really get to know somebody else. And part of it being because some people are blind and some people just don't take the time. And that plays a big role into what I want to talk about with the mental health thing, because again, as I said, I've battled this for many years. But, and there's always these things about suicide prevention. That's a really huge thing. I wholeheartedly believe in that. In my life, I've actually been suicidal before. Not everybody knows that, and it's not easy to talk about, but I have gotten that bad before. But let me tell you a couple of the things that aided in me getting that bad. Because, yeah, I saw it heading there. I reached out for help. Because people say, hey, reach out for help. You know, find somebody to talk to or whatever. It doesn't always work. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is where the important part of my message comes in, and how it ties into my poem Blind, about people not taking the time or not making an effort. I have reached out to people before. I have reached out to friends, like on Messenger, and my messages either go unread, or it says that they've read my messages and I don't get any responses. I've called people before that say they're friends and not gotten any return phone calls. And I'll even leave a voicemail. Even if I'm crying, I'll leave a voicemail. And I'll say flat out, hey, I really need somebody to talk to. But I've gotten no return phone calls. I've said in my messages I've sent, hey, I really need somebody to talk to. Or are you available? You know, do you have time? Again, I get crickets. I've had a couple people where they said, hey, I'm in the middle of something, but I promise I'm going to get back to you as soon as I'm done with this. And again, I don't hear back. I once had somebody, and I don't associate with this person anymore, but I had somebody a few years ago. I was in a bad state of depression. And I couldn't stop the tears from flowing because I was literally that bad. And I had somebody who, for quite a while, kept saying that I was their friend. They kept saying that they were my friend. And so this person comes up to me, and again, I am not my normal self at all. Anybody that knows me would be able to tell I was really down, and I kept crying, and this person asked me how I was doing, and I said, honestly, I'm not doing good at all. And that person looked straight at me. I kid you not. Their response was, oh, well, I've got other people I want to talk to, so see you later. And they turned around and walked off. I was literally suicidal. I didn't even want to be at the place I was at the time. But it was a prior commitment that I had already made. And I guess I just don't believe in breaking commitments. So, I mean, unless it's a matter of life and death, and well, for me, it wasn't, I guess. I didn't think it was. I don't know. But I just felt like I had already made the commitment, and it would really mess things up for the other people if I wasn't there. So I felt like I had to do it, whether I wanted to be there or not. But I'm literally crying as I say this to that person, and their response is just, hey, I got other people I need to talk to, or I want to talk to, and they turned around and walked off. That's the kind of stuff that I've dealt with. And I've seen posts from people talking about how nobody should be upset if people don't respond to you in any kind of timely manner or anything like that. You know, they're off living their lives. But then people wonder why some people who are battling depression so badly end up following through and committing suicide. They say get help, they say reach out to people, but what do you do when you reach out and nobody reaches back? How is that supposed to make you feel? And it doesn't matter if you're suicidal or not. You could just be really down because maybe somebody you love passed away. Maybe a family member or a friend or a partner or a pet, anything. Maybe you're just, feeling down because you just lost your job or something. But it's still something that's important to you and is affecting you mentally and emotionally. But yet nobody wants to take the time to be there for you. I mean, and then I'm sorry, but that makes me sit and wonder, well, are those people really friends? They claim to be. But how often do they really reach out? How often do they respond to you if you call them or message them? And this doesn't go to everybody. But if you think about this and you feel like it applies to you, then chances are it probably does. But that just goes back to, again, the poem Blind. It's just something that I just want you to take to heart. Really open your eyes and ears and really, take the time to think about other people, especially if it's people that mean something to you. Take the time to think about them sometimes. To reach out to somebody and say, hey, how are you doing? How's your day? Hey, what's going on with you? Just a normal chit chat. And it's not like it has to be some long drawn out conversation. Unless they're suffering and they really need you, then I hope you'll stick around to be there for them. But other than that, it doesn't have to be some long conversation. It's just a little something that says, hey, I care and you matter to me. How hard is that? If people aren't worth 5 minutes out of your day, then do they really mean anything to you? And I'm bad about that. I've got to get back into messaging people more and calling people more. I admit it. I'm bad about it. But I also quit doing it so much because most of the time nobody would ever respond. So I got tired of being the only person to reach out. Just know, though, if you're dealing with mental health, if you're battling with it now, or if you've dealt with it in the past, or if it's something that you have and you know you're going to end up battling it again in the future, please just know you're not alone. And my advice to you when you reach out to somebody and they don't respond is reach out to somebody else. And if they don't respond, reach out to somebody else. Keep reaching out until you find somebody who responds and takes the time to listen to you. That's where you're going to find your real tribe. That's where you're going to find the people who are for you. It's not always easy, but don't give up. Don't let the battle against mental health, don't let that win. Don't let the mental health win. You are strong and you can get through this. And you're going to find people who will be there for you and help you and listen to you. But again, you're not alone. I've been there. I battle all the time. So I wish you all the best. And I just send peace, love, healing, care, and comfort to any of you that need it. And I know this has been a long message, but it was something really important that I felt that needed to get out there. So I want to say thank you to anybody that has taken the time to listen to this whole message. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Later.